In the year 530 BCE, the zenith of Persian power under Cyrus the Great reached its abrupt nadir, not amidst the clash of armies on a familiar battlefield, but in the vast, unforgiving expanse of the Central Asian steppes. Here, he encountered a formidable adversary, Queen Tomyris of the Massagetae, a name destined to be etched in the annals of history as a beacon of liberation and a harbinger of grim justice. What transpired next would send shockwaves through the ancient world as Queen Tomyris unleashed a retribution so profound that it redefined the very essence of royal vengeance and the limits of imperial ambition. This is not simply a chronicle of military defeat. It is a chilling testament to the destructive potential of unchecked power when confronted by an unyielding will. Cyrus the Great, at the helm of the Achaemenid Empire, had forged an unparalleled dominion stretching from the sun-drenched shores of the Mediterranean to the towering peaks of the Hindu Kush. For 3 decades, his name had been synonymous with conquest, his victories secured through a potent blend of military brilliance and shrewd diplomacy, a formula that had yet to fail him. His empire, the most expansive the world had ever witnessed, was a mosaic of subjugated kingdoms and humbled peoples, a testament to his unwavering ambition. Yet in 530 BCE, the insatiable gaze of this seemingly invincible emperor turned toward the untamed lands beyond the Jaxartes River, where the Massagetae people, a fiercely independent nomadic tribe, roamed under the indomitable leadership of their warrior queen. The Massagetae were a stark contrast to the sophisticated kingdoms Cyrus had previously subdued. These were nomadic warriors, their lives inextricably linked to the rhythm of the steppes. They lived by the sword, their sustenance drawn from the land, their rituals steeped in ancient traditions. They revered the god of war, their society forged in the crucible of constant struggle, where survival was paramount and strength dictated leadership. Women stood shoulder to shoulder with men in battle, their valor recognized and rewarded, their voices heard in tribal councils. Queen Tomyris had ascended to power not through lineage or political machinations, but by proving herself the most formidable and resolute warrior among her people, a leader worthy of their unwavering loyalty. When Cyrus first cast his imperial shadow upon the Massagetae, he initially deployed his customary strategy, diplomacy veiled in the threat of overwhelming force. Historical accounts, most notably those of Herodotus, suggest that Cyrus initially sought to forge a matrimonial alliance with Queen Tomyris, perceiving this as a facile means of assimilating her kingdom into his burgeoning empire, thereby avoiding the bloodshed of war. However, Tomyris, a keen strategist in her own right, recognized this transparent ploy for what it was, an attempt at political subjugation disguised as a gesture of peace. Her response was immediate and unambiguous. She would never yield to foreign dominion, and any Persian who dared to trespass upon Massagetae territory would be met with swift and decisive retribution. This defiant rejection struck a deep blow to Cyrus's legendary pride, an affront that mere military resistance could never have inflicted. A barbarian queen, as he likely perceived her, had dared to refuse the advances of the great Cyrus, the vanquisher of Babylon, the liberator of the Jews, the self-proclaimed King of Kings. This insult demanded more than mere conquest. It demanded complete and utter subjugation, a crushing of her spirit, and a demonstration of Persian supremacy. Thus, Cyrus initiated the meticulous planning for what he envisioned as his final, definitive campaign that would permanently bring the wild steppes under Persian control and add Queen Tomyris to his growing collection of defeated royalty. Little did he know that he was marching headlong into a meticulously crafted trap, one far more ingenious and deadly than any he had previously encountered. The initial phase of the Persian advance into Massagetae territory unfolded precisely according to Cyrus's calculated plan. His skilled engineers, renowned for their ingenuity, constructed a formidable bridge across the swift-flowing Jaxartes River, a feat of engineering prowess intended to showcase Persian technological superiority to the nomadic tribes. His scouts, fanning out across the steppes, reported that the Massagetae were strategically retreating deeper into their territory, seemingly unwilling to confront the might of the Persian army in open warfare. To Cyrus, this apparent lack of resistance validated his long-held belief that the courage of so-called barbarians invariably crumbled in the face of civilized military might. Emboldened by these reports, he pressed forward with unwavering confidence, his army of seasoned veterans carving a path deep into the heart of the steppes, like a sword cleaving through yielding flesh. However, Queen Tomyris' apparent retreat was not born of fear, but was a calculated maneuver. She was deliberately luring the Persians away from their vital supply lines and into the treacherous embrace of terrain that would favor her cavalry's exceptional mobility. The seemingly barren and lifeless steppes, deceptive in their appearance, were intimately familiar to the Massagetae, riddled with hidden watering holes, secret campsites, and meticulously planned ambush points honed over generations of nomadic existence. Each mile the Persians advanced further isolated them from safety, drawing them inexorably deeper into a deadly killing ground that Tomyris had been preparing since the very moment she received Cyrus's audacious marriage proposal. The meticulously crafted trap was sprung with devastating efficiency, its execution a testament to Tomyris' strategic brilliance. She dispatched a contingent of her forces to feign a retreat before the advancing Persian army, enticing them towards what appeared to be the main Massagetae encampment. When the overconfident Persians launched their assault upon this seemingly vulnerable target, they found it lightly defended by a token force, who swiftly abandoned their positions after a brief, symbolic resistance. The abandoned camp was laden with supplies, including generous quantities of wine, a rare and highly prized luxury that the Massagetae seldom possessed. Cyrus's soldiers, convinced that they had secured an easy victory, descended into a drunken revelry, celebrating their triumph with the captured wine, oblivious to the fact that they were consuming their own impending doom. Among the intoxicated Persian soldiers was Massagetae, the courageous son of Queen Tomyris, who had been captured during the initial skirmishes alongside several other high-ranking Massagetae warriors. However, this capture was no mere accident of war. It was an integral component of Tomyris' grand strategy. She understood that the capture of her son would ignite within her the full force of maternal vengeance, providing a justifiable pretext for the brutal retaliation she was already meticulously planning. She would use the love for her son as the spark to ignite a firestorm that would consume Cyrus and his dreams of conquest. Upon receiving the agonizing news of her son's capture, Tomyris dispatched a message to Cyrus that revealed both her strategic acumen and her profound understanding of Persian vulnerabilities. The message, meticulously recorded by Herodotus, was a masterpiece of psychological warfare, cleverly disguised as a diplomatic overture. Tomyris offered to exchange 1/3 of her formidable army for the safe return of her beloved son, shrewdly appealing to what she perceived as Cyrus's inherent sense of honor and his unshakable confidence in Persian military supremacy. She subtly suggested that Cyrus would undoubtedly prefer to confront her forces in open combat, a battle between warriors, rather than resorting to the ignoble act of capturing women and children. The carefully crafted message was designed to render refusal a sign of cowardice, while acceptance would grant Tomyris precisely what she required, a legitimate and undeniable justification to obliterate the Persian army completely. Cyrus, undoubtedly swayed by his long and unbroken string of victories, made the fateful and ultimately fatal decision to reject Tomyris' carefully calculated offer. Instead, blinded by arrogance, he chose to utilize Massagetae as a mere pawn, a hostage to coerce Tomyris into submission. He failed to comprehend that he was dealing with a culture in which death on the battlefield, a glorious sacrifice for one's people, was considered infinitely more honorable than a life of servitude and bondage. When Massagetae recognized that he had become a mere instrument in his captor's political machinations, he embraced the path dictated by Massagetae honor. Historical accounts reveal that he requested his bonds be loosened momentarily, ostensibly to alleviate his discomfort. Seizing this fleeting opportunity, he took his own life, rather than be used as leverage against his revered mother and his fiercely independent people. His death was a statement of defiance, a testament to the unyielding spirit of the Massagetae. The devastating news of her son's tragic death struck Queen Tomyris with the force of a thunderbolt, transforming her instantly from a calculating strategist into a relentless instrument of pure, unadulterated vengeance. While the historical record suggests that her grief was profound and overwhelming, it was immediately channeled into a burning fury that would stain the steppes crimson with Persian blood. She dispatched one final chilling message to Cyrus, the words of which serve as a stark testament to the unwavering resolve of a mother who had lost everything she held dear. The conflict was no longer about territorial disputes or political independence. It had become deeply personal, infused with a raw and primal intensity that made it infinitely more dangerous. Her message to Cyrus was succinct, yet terrifying in its profound implications. Cyrus, insatiable for blood, do not revel in this shallow victory achieved through the intoxicating influence of the vine, which clouds your judgment and breeds arrogance within you. Do not boast of your triumph, for you have taken my son through treachery, a deed I will avenge with the blood you so desperately crave. Heed my warning, return my son to me, and depart from my land unharmed. Refuse, and I swear by the sun, the sacred lord of the Massagetae, I will satiate your thirst for blood until it drowns you. The promise of blood was not a mere figure of speech. Within Massagetae culture, blood held a profound and sacred significance, representing the very essence of life and the unbreakable bonds of kinship. Tomyris was invoking a ritual vow, binding herself to a specific and terrifying form of retribution. She was not simply threatening to slay Cyrus in battle. She was vowing something far more personal, more horrifying, a punishment that would transcend the boundaries of mortal death. The phrase, "give you your fill of blood," carried chilling implications that would only become horrifyingly clear after the final cataclysmic confrontation. Cyrus, steeped in Persian notions of honor and completely unfamiliar with the complex and deeply rooted Massagetae religious practices, likely interpreted this as nothing more than typical barbarian bravado, failing to recognize the sacred oath and the terrifying resolve that lay beneath the queen's words. This cultural blindness would prove to be his undoing. With the avenues of diplomacy irrevocably closed and her son's death demanding satisfaction, Queen Tomyris began mobilizing the full military might of the Massagetae Confederation. This was not merely her own tribe, but a powerful coalition of related nomadic peoples, all recognizing her authority and united in their fierce determination to expel the Persians from their ancestral lands. The assembled force was unlike anything Cyrus had previously encountered, not a traditional army encumbered by cumbersome supply lines and siege equipment, but a fluid and relentless swarm of mounted warriors capable of striking with lightning speed and disappearing into the vastness of the steppes, leaving their enemies disoriented and vulnerable. The Massagetae military system was perfectly adapted to the harsh realities of their environment and their nomadic way of life. Every warrior was an expert horseman from early childhood, capable of loosing arrows with deadly accuracy while riding at full gallop. They wielded powerful composite bows crafted from layers of horn, sinew, and wood, capable of piercing Persian armor at distances that rendered conventional tactics obsolete. Their horses were hardy steppe ponies, bred to thrive on sparse vegetation and endure long journeys without tiring, granting them unparalleled mobility advantages that the Persian cavalry, reliant on grain and regular rest, could never hope to match. And perhaps most importantly, they were fighting to defend their homeland against foreign invaders, fueled by a level of unwavering motivation that even the most highly trained professional soldiers could rarely achieve. Queen Tomyris strategically positioned her forces, leveraging her intimate knowledge of the local terrain, a knowledge that the Persians utterly lacked. She selected a battlefield where Persian advantages in heavy infantry and siege weaponry would be rendered meaningless, while simultaneously maximizing the effectiveness of her mounted archers. Historical sources suggest the chosen location was strategically situated near a river crossing, making Persian retreat difficult, while allowing Massagetae forces to withdraw in multiple directions if needed. Every aspect of her battle plan was meticulously designed to exploit Persian weaknesses, transforming their strengths into crippling vulnerabilities, while amplifying her own inherent tactical advantages. The ensuing battle was a far cry from the organized and predictable conflicts that had cemented Cyrus's reputation throughout the ancient world. There were no neat formations, no gradual escalation, no opportunities for negotiation or surrender. The Massagetae attack erupted like a force of nature, thousands of mounted warriors appearing from multiple directions simultaneously, unleashing a deadly torrent of arrows before vanishing back into the steppes, only to reappear elsewhere and strike again and again. The Persian heavy infantry, the very backbone of Cyrus's previous victories, found themselves hopelessly outmaneuvered, unable to engage an enemy that refused to stand and fight in conventional terms. Cyrus himself was reportedly slain in the thick of the chaotic fighting, though the precise circumstances surrounding his demise remain a subject of debate among ancient historians. Some accounts claim he was felled by an arrow while desperately attempting to rally his faltering troops. Others suggest he was overwhelmed during a desperate cavalry charge, cut down by Massagetae warriors. Regardless of the specific details, what remains certain is that his death marked the complete and utter collapse of Persian resistance. Bereft of their legendary commander, the invading army disintegrated into isolated pockets of survivors, desperately attempting to escape the carnage and return to the relative safety of their homeland. Tragically, the vast majority would never see Persia again, their bones left to bleach under the unforgiving sun of the steppes they had sought to conquer. However, for Queen Tomyris, the mere death of Cyrus on the battlefield was not sufficient to quench the burning thirst for vengeance that consumed her. According to Herodotus and other ancient sources, she issued a chilling order to her warriors to locate the emperor's lifeless body among the countless Persian dead, a gruesome task that would necessitate meticulously searching through thousands of corpses strewn across the vast battlefield. When the body was finally discovered and brought before her, she stood face to face with the physical remains of the man who had been hailed as the greatest conqueror in human history. What transpired next would become enshrined as one of the most shocking and unforgettable acts of posthumous revenge ever recorded. The queen ordered her warriors to procure a large wineskin and fill it to the brim with human blood, specifically the blood of the fallen Persian soldiers who had followed their emperor to their doom in the steppes. This was not an act of random cruelty, but a carefully orchestrated ritual, inextricably linked to her earlier promise to give Cyrus his fill of blood. Within Massagetae religious tradition, blood was revered as the sacred essence of life force, and consuming it was believed to facilitate the transfer of power from the deceased to the living. By forcing Cyrus to receive his fill of blood in death, Tomyris was not simply exacting vengeance, but performing a potent and sacred ritual designed to bind his spirit, preventing it from finding peace in the afterlife and ensuring his eternal torment. When the grisly preparation was complete, Queen Tomyris, her face etched with a mixture of grief and grim satisfaction, personally seized Cyrus's severed head and plunged it into the blood-filled wineskin. According to historical accounts, she then addressed the lifeless head of the once mighty emperor. "I am alive, and I have triumphed over you in battle, but you have destroyed me through your treachery, stealing my son from me. Now I will fulfill my oath and grant you your fill of blood, a drink you so richly deserve." This act was not a spontaneous outburst of rage, but a cold, calculated ritual that demonstrated the depth of her commitment to vengeance and the fundamentally alien nature of Massagetae justice to the civilized sensibilities of the Persian Empire. The symbolism of this act would have been immediately apparent to any Massagetae witnessing it, a chilling reaffirmation of their values. But it would have been utterly horrifying to observers from the Persian Empire or the burgeoning Greek world. By drowning Cyrus's severed head in blood, Tomyris was ensuring that his spirit would be forever trapped in a macabre cycle of thirst and consumption, forever denied the solace of peace in the afterlife. This was not merely about humiliating a defeated enemy. It was about inflicting eternal punishment upon a man who had violated the most sacred bonds of motherhood and honor, a transgression that demanded the ultimate price. The sheer excess of the revenge served to communicate the magnitude of Cyrus's offense in uncompromising Massagetae terms. News of Cyrus's ignominious death and the manner of his treatment spread with astonishing speed throughout the ancient world, carried by the few Persian survivors who managed to escape the steppes and by traders who witnessed the aftermath of the devastating battle. The story rapidly took on mythical proportions as it was retold and embellished, with some versions emphasizing the unparalleled martial prowess of Queen Tomyris, while others focused on the gruesome and undignified fate of the once great emperor. Greek historians, most notably Herodotus, preserve the account not merely as a historical record, but as a profound moral lesson about the inherent dangers of hubris, the limitations of imperial power, and the potentially terrible consequences of underestimating one's enemies. The immediate repercussions of the Persian defeat were catastrophic for the vast empire that Cyrus had painstakingly built. The loss of their charismatic founder and a significant portion of their military strength triggered a destabilizing succession crisis that threatened to tear the empire apart. While Cyrus's son, Cambyses, eventually managed to secure the throne, the seemingly unstoppable Persian expansion was brought to a permanent and screeching halt on its northern frontier. No subsequent Persian ruler would ever dare to challenge the Massagetae again, and the vast steppes would remain free from imperial control for centuries to come, a testament to the power of resistance. For the Massagetae Confederation, the decisive victory over the mighty Persian Empire firmly established Queen Tomyris as one of the most feared and respected rulers in the ancient world. Her successful defense of nomadic independence served as a powerful inspiration to other steppe peoples, galvanizing them to resist foreign conquest, creating a resilient pattern of resistance that would persist for over 1,000 years. The innovative tactical strategies she had employed against the Persians, utilizing superior mobility and intimate knowledge of the local terrain to neutralize conventional military advantages, became standard practice for nomadic warriors confronting settled empires. Her enduring legacy lived on in the military traditions of diverse peoples, from the Scythians to the fearsome Mongols. The psychological impact of Tomyris's stunning victory extended far beyond mere military considerations. She had definitively demonstrated that even the mightiest empire in the known world could be defeated by a people often dismissed as barbarians, challenging conventional notions of civilization and savagery and revealing them to be far more complex than imperial propagandists would have the world believe. The powerful image of the great Cyrus's severed head submerged in blood became an enduring symbol of the limitations of imperial power and the potentially devastating consequences of underestimating one's opponents, particularly when matters of family honor, cultural survival, and the preservation of ancestral lands were at stake. Modern historians continue to debate the precise details of these pivotal events, as ancient sources sometimes present conflicting accounts, and archaeological evidence from the steppes remains limited and fragmented. However, the core narrative of a courageous nomadic queen who utilized superior tactics and an intimate understanding of local conditions to decisively defeat a vastly larger and more technologically advanced imperial army is supported by a multitude of independent sources. The enduring appeal of this remarkable story lies precisely in its ability to challenge conventional assumptions about power, gender roles, and the very nature of civilization itself. The methods employed by Queen Tomyris to achieve victory over Cyrus reveal a sophisticated understanding of psychological warfare, strategic deception, and the skillful exploitation of cultural differences. Her masterful use of her son's capture as a catalyst for total war, her shrewd manipulation of Persian confidence and deeply ingrained honor codes, and her careful selection of the battlefield all demonstrate a level of military thinking that was far more complex and nuanced than her enemies initially realized. The undeniable brutality of her final act of revenge was not mindless savagery, but a carefully calculated act designed to send a powerful and chilling message that would deter future invasions and ensure the long-term security of her people. Perhaps most significantly, the timeless story of Queen Tomyris compels us to confront uncomfortable questions about the very nature of justice and the elusive concept of proportional response. From a Persian perspective, Cyrus was simply engaged in standard imperial expansion, utilizing methods that had proven demonstrably successful throughout his long and illustrious career. From Tomyris's perspective, he was a ruthless invader who had unjustly murdered her son and posed an existential threat to her people's very existence. The violent collision between these fundamentally irreconcilable worldviews produced a conflict that shocked even the battle-hardened veterans of the ancient world, reminding us that the most horrific and devastating conflicts often arise not from pure, unadulterated evil, but from deep-seated and seemingly irreconcilable differences in fundamental values and perspectives. In the end, Queen Tomyris achieved something that no other opponent of Cyrus the Great had ever managed to accomplish. She didn't just defeat him on the battlefield, she effectively erased him, relegating him to the footnotes of history as a cautionary tale. The Persian Empire, though it survived his death and continued to expand in other directions, never again dared to challenge the fierce independence of the steppe peoples. The northern frontier remained forever closed to Persian imperial ambition, a testament to her strategic brilliance and unwavering resolve. The steppes that had swallowed Cyrus and his army remained free, defended by the enduring memory of a queen who had unequivocally demonstrated that even the greatest conqueror in history could be broken by someone far more ruthless and determined than he ever imagined. Her enduring legacy stands as a chilling testament to the terrible power of maternal vengeance and the catastrophic price that empires inevitably pay when they mistake cultural differences for weakness and unwavering resolve for mere barbarism. So, the story of Queen Tomyris isn't just a thrilling battle narrative from the ancient world. It's a powerful reminder that even the most dominant forces can be undone by unwavering courage, strategic brilliance, and a fierce dedication to protecting what's sacred. It's about the price of unchecked ambition and the strength that can be found in defending one's home and values. It's a story that challenges us to look beyond surface appearances and recognize the power that resides in those we might underestimate. What did you think of Queen Tomyris' story? Does her unwavering resolve inspire you? Or perhaps the chilling nature of her vengeance gives you pause? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Feel free to ask any questions you have or share your own perspectives on this fascinating historical event. And if you enjoyed diving into this historical account, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on future explorations of fascinating historical figures and pivotal moments in time. Let's keep the conversation going.